Ooh, what's up, and welcome into the third edition of the Postgame podcast from the Program Guys podcast. Mason Prince, Mark Hall, Matt Gann, Ryan Tyson with you this week. No Patrick Hertzberger. The Oklahoma Sooners are 3-0 after a 49-14 demolishing of the Nebraska Cornhuskers in Lincoln, Nebraska. Rapid reaction right here, right now, guys. 3:30 in the afternoon on a Saturday. We're going to recap this game. We just all watched it like we do every week. I watched it from my phone. No one else was at the game. We all watched it on TV, so we all saw the same things. Nobody was in Lincoln. So first off, boys, I want to start with this. 7-0 Nebraska to start, 49 straight points for the Sooners. That's electric. I mean, that's awesome. Let's start with the offense. What did we see from that offense after that first drive? Really, first two drives maybe, that they kind of stalled out. Once Dylan Gabriel had that 61-yard touchdown, floodgates really opened for the Sooners right there.
Really just resilience, the kind of thing that we haven't seen in the last few years where, someone punches us in the mouth and we're not ready for it, and we just stay getting punched. And this team we saw today, we got hit in the mouth the first drive. We kind of got hit in the mouth the second drive. But by that third drive, something clicked. They found something with that Dylan Gabriel play, and the offense gained enough confidence that, hey, we know we're the better team. Let's go act like it.
Yeah.
And you love to see that kind of attitude getting instilled.
Longest run of Dylan Gabriel's career, by the way. Ryan, what'd you see, man?
Yeah, I loved the change up in the play calling. I thought we were much more innovative today. That touchdown throw by Braden Willis was fantastic. I love that play call. Yeah. And I think we just decided that I agree with Mark. We knew we were the better team and we went with it. Eric Gray was absolutely fantastic. He was good today. So good. And the way he was able to run through, and we were a little worried at first, wasn't a lot of holes. The offensive line wasn't making a lot of holes on that first drive, obviously. But then after, that long run by Gabriel, everything just seemed to click in place. And I think the offensive lineman played stellar after that. And I think Gray took advantage of that.
Yeah. Matt, first opening thoughts?
Yeah, look, what we talked about. Nebraska's got nothing to lose. Their head coach just got fired. Usually teams that lose their head coach, they rally around the interim coach. And you saw that the first two drives, right? They stalled us. They got back-to-back stopped us from scoring. They went down the field the Casey Thompson had a dagger down the field. Beautiful throw. Touchdown. It's 7-0. The whole crowd, the atmosphere was loud. They were into the game, and it wasn't until that DG run that really took the air out of the stadium, and that's where we put the foot on the pedal, and we didn't stop from there. Like Ryan said about the offensive line, this is the first complete game that they had. We had 54 carries for 312 yards. That's an average of 5.8 yards a carry, 4 touchdowns. That is what you like to see. Bigger holes. I know Nebraska is not known for their defense, but we clearly went out there and showed our true dominance. This is the offensive line that we need to see, and obviously giving plenty of time to DG to go back there and make some throws.
Yeah, credit where it's due. Ryan called it during the show on Thursday that they're going to be emotional. Nebraska, they had their backs against the wall. That's what they were going to do. They're going to come out, be emotional, and they were. And they had the juice to start the game. And OU didn't. Like Mark said, they got hit in the mouth. But the way that this team is different. Past years, teams get hit in the mouth, and they take a quarter and a half to figure out where they're at. This team responded the next drive or two drives later, and they figured out what they were doing. And to be completely fair, the way the offense started the game, I didn't feel like they started slow. I feel like drives just stalled. So their first drive, they were moving the ball, and then a Dylan Gabriel sack just killed any sort of momentum that they had. So I thought they looked really well. Loved the running game. To Matt's point, the offensive line had to dominate today, and to credit to them, they did. They looked really, really good.
Yeah, offensive line looked really good. We saw more Daniel Parker than we have seen, more 2 tight end sets leading to some of those quick run plays, and then some play action off of that. We saw a big 3rd and 5 that Daniel Parker outstretched for and kept the drive going. And that's a look that we haven't seen before this game. I think that some of that creativity that Ryan was talking about earlier is a part of that too. Jeff Levy has tricks up his sleeves, and we were not going to use them against UTEP or against Kent State. But this was one where hey, flex a little bit, right? It's Nebraska in Nebraska. We want to go get Malachi Coleman. That's what we're going to do, right? So definitely good to see on that front. I'm sorry, Ryan, I kind of cut you off there. I didn't mean to.
No, you're totally fine. I mean, the only thing that I was going to say, Mace, back to your point on like the first drive of the game, we had like one first down and then we punted the ball. We had 3 total punts the entire game. So we only had 2 more.
Yeah.
Like the offense, Dylan Gabriel's run was that next series after they scored. It was an immediate reaction. And the way that this team, and we saw it last week too, the way that this team can react is like nothing we have seen since Bob Stoops. We have not seen it because they are able to, take the Kent State game where we were terrible in the first half, came out, looked like a completely different team. We were sluggish starting this game on those first 2 drives. It was a insanely loud environment, 90,000 people, very emotional rivalry. But then this team just knows how to respond to that. And it's so fascinating to me that they can do this in the 3rd game on a new coaching staff, not having played together very much. I mean, that is some just incredible like coaching just in general that I haven't been this excited about OU football in a extremely long time.
There was a moment in that
real
game
fast. That's a Jerry Schmidt thing.
Yeah.
That's not anything except for these guys being pushed to their physical limits during the offseason and breaking to a degree and then building back up. And that's what you love to see. Mason, go ahead.
It's fine. So in the past, I don't know, let's call it 6-7 years, I guess. I've had bad feelings about OU games that start like this one just did, because when games start like that, OU one keeps it a close game and win, or they lose that game every single time. And it over the past 7 years, and it's driven me nuts. And every time over the last 7 years that we've started like that, I have voices in my head that say, here we go again. They're going to do this crap. They're going to not come out ready to play, whatever. I didn't feel like that once this entire game. Even when they punted, I never even felt bad. I didn't even flinch because I was like, they're ready to go. They got juice on Nebraska's side. Brent has these guys ready to play. And let me tell you, I have chills. That is such a good feeling to have as a fan, to know that when your guys get socked in the mouth to on the road, their first true road game under a new staff, new head coach, new everything, they believe in what they've done this whole offseason and what Brent's been telling them. And they're like, we're good. Next drive, give us the ball. Let's go. And that's just amazing to see and so good to feel as a fan. It's so great.
Yeah, we like to quibble. You go.
Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say, we talked about the coaching staff wanting to get other people involved, especially these other wide receivers other than Mims. And when they talked about the guy, Jaleel Farouk, and you definitely saw they made more of an attempt to get him involved, a lot more quicker slants. Obviously, the touchdown, which was an absolute laser from DG. I mean, you could have not placed that ball any better. Great double move. But love the play calling, love getting Farouk. He's obviously a talented wide receiver. We have a great wide receiver core. Obviously, Theo Weiss got involved with another touchdown from him as well. You really love to see, because obviously Marvin Mims, we know, is the guy, but other guys on the team have to get open and make plays as well. And we definitely saw that today. So really looking forward to continuing to see the play calling and getting some of these other guys involved.
And before you guys jump in, big credit I want to give to Theo Weiss. That's a tough catch in traffic on that touchdown. Yep. He deserves a lot of credit for that. Dylan put the ball right where he needed to, and I didn't think Dylan was very accurate all day, but he put the ball right where he needed to put it right there, and Theo held on between two guys. I have made my thoughts on Theo known very well. I love Theo. I want him to do so well, only do great things. He had a great game today.
I think it's interesting. We're probably going to talk a little bit about how, like you said, Mason, Dylan wasn't as accurate as you wanted to be. I think just off the top of my head, probably 4 or 5 overthrows. Yeah. Just throws that are a foot or two off or towards the back of the end zone, way off.
Yeah, probably 3 or 4 throwaways as well. But yes, overthrows as well.
And you got to work with those, right? You got to make those go away. Some of that is that Dylan Gabriel is not Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, any of these guys.
Still have to tell myself that.
Yeah. At the same time, I think part of the reason the team stays in the game in the first quarter offensively is because Dylan Gabriel is at quarterback. If we have Davis Bevel or General Booty or Nick Evers in, none of that happens. The game goes a completely different direction. And I think it's important to see him as sort of the alpha there, taking control of that team and taking control of the offense.
Yep. Yeah, he needs to settle down a little bit. And I think especially the first part of the first half, right after his big run, I think he had a lot of adrenaline pumping. That's when we were seeing a lot of overthrows. I think he just needed to calm down a little bit. And I think he's going to, I hope he's going to get better throughout the year. He played, I was hearing a lot of the commentators say oh, he's been outstanding today. And I wouldn't say he was outstanding. I would say he was good. He was solid. And that's with what we're going to talk about on the defensive side. That's exactly what we need is a solid quarterback. I'm totally okay with that. But I do think there's room for improvement there in some of his accuracy.
The running back room, or even just the running backs in general, they were fantastic today. The offensive line opened up holes, but credit where it's due. We talk a lot about Marcus Major, me and Mark especially, but Eric Gray deserves his credit, man. He looked. Oh yeah, this is his best game in a Sooner uniform. He looked every bit the part of the guy that he was supposed to be coming in here, and I loved it. I thought he looked electric. I thought he saw the field super well. Thought all those cuts that he made were fantastic. Just all around really good game from Eric Gray as well.
Yeah, really good game from Eric.
Go, Mark.
Man, Matt, we keep doing that.
I know.
Really good game from Eric. He's added enough strength this offseason that the burst that he's always had now brings a kind of just full force behind it that you're not going to get him down because you don't hit him straight on. He doesn't let you, and he can brush through a lot of those smaller tackles. Marcus did not look as good as I wanted him to today. No. And he had 2 touchdowns, right?
I know, right?
Yeah.
But a couple of times I just thought, hey, you're missing the hole or you're not hitting the hole the way you need to. Javonte Barnes looked awesome, though. He looked like DeMarco Murray out there to me.
He did. Just really, really good.
Really good. Really good.
Matt, go ahead, man.
Yeah, there's really not a lot to nitpick. The only thing I know when I was talking with Mark and Ryan was DG just taking those unnecessary sacks, right? I know he's keeping his head up. He's trying to look for the play, but there's just a couple times, hey, just throw it away. Let's move on to the next play. But then we get into 2nd 13 or 3rd and long or whatever it is. We just get behind the chain. So that's the only thing I really saw. Everything else, other than the first 2 drives, pretty flawless. You really couldn't ask for better. Some of the throws that he made, but some of those just unnecessary sacks he took. He just can't do that against the better teams that we're going to play later on.
No. Anybody else? Anything on the offense before we take a look at the defense?
No Gavin Sawchuk.
No Gavin Sawchuk. Yeah.
More a question for y'all. When are we talking about special teams? Is it now or is it after defense?
We'll talk. I mean,
we can talk about that missed field goal.
That's what I want to say. They played almost a perfect game. It was very close. They played so well, but we cannot miss field goals like that.
No.
39 yards, you can't miss that. No. So that's gotta be better.
Not that one. That's gotta be better. But speaking of special teams, Marvin Mims in the return game is just special.
Yeah,
he's just special.
Yeah,
that punt return unit had a really great day, and Marvin looked really, really good. Again, I'm a broken record, but Marvin Mims is the best player on your team, and I'm glad that our coaching staff knows that you got to get the ball in that dude's hands, no matter how it happens. Just get the ball in his hands.
I think it was Matt earlier that made the point to me and Ryan. Hey, why was Eric Gray returning punts last year?
No one knows.
What's the point of that? What was the reasoning for that?
None.
Marvin Mims is the best on the team at it.
Yeah.
It seems like Eric Gray is much happier now that he's not doing that either. So
yeah,
it's more effective.
Yeah, more effective. All right, that's special teams. Let's talk some defense, okay, guys? Defense. You can't score 49 unanswered if your defense doesn't allow any points.
Incredible game. What an incredible game.
I was having Mike Stoops flashbacks to start though. The 10 yards off the ball and then just throwing bubble screens after bubble screen. I was about to freak out. but trust the process, trust BV, trust Ted Roof, and they figured it out. They were pressuring Casey Thompson, man. Poor guy.
It's hard out here.
How many? I'm
on these
trying
streets.
to look how many sacks.
4.
We had 4 early. Well, not early, but
we had 3 in the first quarter.
Yes.
4 total.
4 sacks total. Yes. So Casey Thompson got eaten alive. The tackles for loss were there again. We had 9 tackles for loss. And then obviously 2 turnovers with the Key Lawrence interception and the Jaron Kanak fumble and recovery.
He's
the kid
incredible.
is special. And he gets more and more play time every week, and it's so good to see. He's so
Deshaun
good.
White targeting that dude might spell the end for Deshaun White's time as a starter. Like, I don't think it happens next week, but we get to November. How do you keep Jaron off the field?
You can't.
How do you say this other guy is better when every time Jaron's on the field, he's making plays?
Like, Deshaun also played like really well before he got, before he got ejected. Like, he has 6 total tackles. The only person that he's behind in tackles is Jaron, which is
some of that is also the cheetah position in the offense, right? You're close enough to make a tackle on a run play and far enough out to make the play in space.
Yeah.
But man, the fumble is just a distillation of it. Everything he brings to the table.
Jaron Kanak led the team in tackles with 10.
Yeah.
So that's another thing.
Have y'all seen the Brent quote from after the game?
No, not
yet. He says he doesn't even know how to play linebacker yet. That's what he said.
That's maniacal. That's just so scary.
And apparently he was beaming when he said it. You just know he's excited for the next 2 years with him after this.
That's perfect. Matt, what'd you say out of the defense?
That's all we're getting.
Yeah, a ton of pressure. Obviously, the first 2 drives, not great. I think we got to give great credit to the coaching staff for making in-quarter adjustments. Like we've said in the past, it takes us a quarter, maybe the end of the game, to finally figure out what the offense is doing against us. And you clearly saw after those first 2 drives, we were more aggressive. We were disguising our coverage. We were bringing Deshaun White down to blitz, and we were getting ample pressure on the quarterback throughout the entire game. Casey Thompson looked absolutely lost after the second drive, and that's because of how aggressive we were playing and how physical both the defensive line and those linebackers were getting in the backfield and pushing around the Nebraska offensive line. So credit for making in-quarter adjustments. They had nothing going after that second drive, and that's what you love to see when you get stops. You give DG and the offense more opportunities. That's exactly what you said, Mason. You can't win football games 49-14 without the defense getting some stops, and they absolutely stopped them right in their tracks.
Matt made a point that I just want to expand on real quick, and then Mark, you can jump in. I saw this tweet from Christopher Oven. Hold on, pause. I had it and I lost it. Hold on. Great podcasting, Mason. You're doing really good. You're a really good host.
Hey, you're killing it, man.
Christopher Oven. First time since 2009, OU has held each of its first 3 opponents to 14 points or fewer. First time since 2007 with 3 FBS opponents.
Oh, first time since 2007 also that we've scored 30 straight points, 30 points or more in the first 3 games. They showed that on CBS or Big Fox Saturday. Yeah.
Yep.
What I wanted to point out was Matt zeroed in on the pass rush and how effective we were there. Running back Anthony Grant came in leading the Big Ten in rushing with 428 yards. He had broken 100 yards in each of the 3 games that they had played before this, and we held him to 36. His over-under today was 83.5. I know because I banged that under. I have faith in this front 7, baby. Awesome. You know I do. But just a really, really good on defense, runs and passes. They held everyone in check. Trey Palmer wasn't making plays. Garcia Castaneda wasn't making plays. Grant and Allen weren't making plays. No one was making plays for them. And long day for Casey Thompson. I hope that guy has like a massage chair.
164 passing yards for Nebraska, 163 yards rushing. That's how you win. That's how you win football games,
and 60 of that came from the dude at the end of the game. Yeah. I guess he's a freshman or something that came in.
Yeah.
Another interesting stat on the defensive side, through our first 3 games, we've given up 30 total points. We gave up 35 points in our season opener last year to Tulane.
It's amazing.
So, just take with that what you will.
You guys, do y'all remember the desperation after the Tulane game last year? We were all sitting at Connor's house, and it was just like,
this is terrible.
Like, I feel cold when it's hot outside. Like, I just feel bad, and it's just gone.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people said it, but I can't seem to recall. I swore that Brent Venables wasn't the guy to hire for this OU team. I was sworn that Brent Venables just wasn't going to have it anymore on defense. They told me that we had to worry about Nebraska because Nebraska was a team, and this OU team hasn't played a road game under Brent Venables. I was told by a lot of people that's what we should expect is just a letdown, and I haven't been let down at all. He's done everything that he said he's going to do.
Of a letdown.
Yeah, he's done everything he said he's going to do. And this defense hasn't even played their best game. They can obviously improve in different areas, but dude, they look great. They look great right now. And I had I don't even call it a moment of weakness, but just a moment of like, this team could win a natty, man. Like, why not?
This was the first time that I was like, playoffs? Maybe?
Yeah. I was
possibly?
Like, I looked at my friend. I looked at my friend who I was watching the game with, and I was like, yeah, this team. Why not? Why not? Let's just see what happens. Why not? But like
the schedule's pretty good.
We won't get there yet. But that's where my head was at. I'm so like smitten right now that's just where I'm at, and it's just a good feeling to have. Good feeling to have.
You could get a playoff bet before the season at plus 450, so I did, and I'm feeling all right about that one.
What's it at now? Do we know?
I don't know. I middle of Saturday, they're not going to have odds up, but I don't know if we could do anything against Georgia. That's the only team that just is another level above the rest.
Yeah.
But
could we get there? Maybe.
But could we get there?
Who knows?
Maybe.
It'd be
and
fun.
Big 12 play starts next week.
Don't forget about that 23 class that's coming in next year. Oh my God.
That Kansas State game next week. I know a lot has been made of this Nebraska game, and we were going to see what this team's made of. I think next week we're really going to see what this team's made of. That Kansas State is a well-coached team. They're going to come in ready to play.
Yep.
And we have always had problems with Kansas State, just always.
Especially in Norman.
Yeah.
Last couple of years.
That'll be interesting. Anything else on this game though, guys? Sorry, I didn't mean to move on, but anything else on this game before we get to MVPs?
Well, one thing I want to say around the defense is, the two like all-stars from the last 2 games, Danny Stutzman and Bowman were quiet. Yeah, we're quiet. But
I thought Bowman played really well.
He did play well, but he wasn't like all over the place like we've seen him in the past 2 games. And that's fine. I mean, you can't expect him to do that every single game. But what I love about that is that there's just so much talent on this defensive side that we are now utilizing. Like a lot of this talent, guys, we have had, which is just crazy to me.
I know.
And we just like haven't been using it in the proper way.
What I wasn't like super happy about, if we're going to get nitpicky, I don't know enough, but I don't know why Damon Harmon was in the game. Like that first touchdown was literally just him getting lost. And then there was a couple more plays I saw him where he got burned. I don't know why he was in the game. But like, you gotta play your young guys. They're not scared to play those guys. I completely get it. I just wasn't happy when the first touchdown we gave up is Damon Harmon, who like I've heard his name once all year, is just turned around and lost. And I'm like, why is this dude in the damn game? That was like my nitpicky thing. But like, they're going to keep rotating guys, and that's their MO. I get it.
He's got to be showing them something in practice that they really like seeing.
You're right.
That's the explanation for it, I think.
Yeah.
One thing that I want to point out in relation to Bowman's less tackles is we kind of noticed that at Ryan's house, we noticed the defense was lining up a little bit differently. If you go watch the replay, Billy Bowman's going to be that back safety a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, he was playing the freaking nickel. The week before that, he was lining up as a traditional free safety, sort of. He's going all over the field.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was last on some plays today, but I don't mind him being that last line of defense roamer. I think if anyone on the defense is going to, it has to be him.
Yeah.
Matt?
Yeah, I just love what we saw from everything today, right? We circled this on the calendar. This was going to be the first true road game, test of the season, and this is exactly what you wanted to see. Hey, we got punched in the mouth, but this is why we got the coaching staff that we did to bring that poise. That's when we brought in DG to level out what we needed. And that's exactly what you wanted to see. It only gives us momentum going forward because we got a lot of tough games ahead. Like Kansas State is no joke. OSU, Baylor, those are going to be true tests in the Big 12 if we are going to get a potential chance or shot at a Big 12 championship and a playoff. So love what we saw today. This is exactly what I wanted to see out of this team, and especially the defense going to a hostile environment and shutting them down for the most part.
Love it. Let's move on and pick some MVPs, guys. You ready to do that?
Do it.
Hey, I'll go ahead and start us off. My MVP of the game, Brent Venables, gets a whole lot of credit for that defense, and rightfully so. Ted Roof deserves some credit. He's the guy up there calling plays, calling coverages, calling the defense. Ted Roof deserves a ton of credit. He's done very, very well over the first 3 games, and I'm just glad Ted Roof's here. I'm glad. I'm gonna say it. I'm glad he's here. All right, who's next?
I'm gonna take him before y'all can. Jaren Kanak, man,
Damn
been ringing his bell
since
since he signed. He is a playmaker already. He might be the most talented guy on the defense already, and there's no way you can keep him off the field. That fumble play is just, like I said, a distillation of everything he can bring to the table, and I'm excited to see more of him on the field moving forward. Jaren Kanak. Kanak? Is that how we're going to say it?
We struggled with this for so long.
Don't ask me.
We're going to say Kanak. All right.
It's like Kanak.
Now on, guys.
Did you hear Matt? Matt goes, "Don't ask me."
Yeah, he just can't.
I love it.
Nope.
Anyway, MVP, JK7.
Mispronunciation, Matt. Go, Ryan. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good. I'm going to say Eric Gray. 113 yards, 11 carries. That's over 10 yards a carry. 2 touchdowns. He looked great. He looked fantastic. He was finding all the holes that he needed to. Like you said, Mace, this is his best game in an OU uniform. And I think he can take that momentum and continue to push that throughout the rest of the season. So Eric Gray, MVP.
Hope so. Matt?
Yeah, Mark said it earlier. It has to be DG. He's the one that kept everyone calm and composed after his run. Listen, his stats, 16 for 27, 230, 2 touchdowns. They don't jump off the page to you, but it's really the intangibles that he showed today of calming the team down, running the offense, executing the plays. Yeah, did he have a couple overthrows, but some of the passes that he had to Farouk and to Theo Weiss, that's what we're going to continue to see. We need to see more of it, but he's the one that really led the charge and kept everyone composed, especially after that touchdown that Nebraska gave. So it's got to be DG MVP for me.
That's a great point, Matt. It's a big reason why they brought him in is the leader that he is and the calm, cool collectedness that he has. He had it the whole game. So very, very good point. That's our MVP. Let us know down below in the comments section who you think the MVP of the game is. Love reading your comments. Really appreciate it. Had a lot of interaction on the episode this week. Loved hearing from you guys. Keep on commenting. We love to see it all. Be sure to like and subscribe right here on our YouTube channel. Also, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. That's where you can find us. Follow us on Twitter at Program Guys with a Z, on Instagram, Program Guys with a Z, Facebook, Program Guys Podcast. Once again, like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the year. Oklahoma Sooners 3-0, taking on Kansas State next week. We're going to have an episode for you guys coming up on Thursday. Pretty sure we might have a full roster. I don't know. Ryan, maybe not. But
I might not be here.
That's all right. We'll have a roster.
There's a handsome convention that he's missing for.
Bingo.
Unfortunately, it's a work thing. So,
but we'll break down the entire Kansas State game for you, get you ready for that game. See if Brent Venables and company can go 4-0 next week in Norman. Matt, take us out.
Keep pushing it, baby.